good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this, because I don't actually know when you see these, but that's okay. That is neither here nor there. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I have another amazing topic for you today. And this one actually, it's kind of funny. This one came to me on a complete and utter whim, if I'm being honest. And as most of you know, because I've shared this lots of times, so often, so much of the topics, the content, the ideas, videos, topics, whatever the case might be, they come to me really intuitively. Like I don't really know what I'm going to talk about until I have like a bolt or a flash of light. No, we're not singing today. I'm going back to Joseph. Believe it or not, I'm still seeing Joseph. I actually did a video on my Instagram where I talked all about Joseph. And I still have it in my head since that day in one form or another. But for this topic specifically, this was very much intuitive. I just kept hearing this like voice in my head that was like, talk about your feelings, feeling your feelings. I was like, okay, I'm listening. So I really went with my gut on this one. And we are going to be talking today all about what it means to feel your feelings, because I know that we have all heard that at one point or another. Someone has said, just feel your feelings. And you're like, okay, thanks. But like, how do I do that? What does it mean to feel my feelings? How do I feel a feeling? I don't understand. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. That is what we're going to be talking about. And as always, please keep in mind, if there is something specific that you want to see, if there's a topic you want me to cover, if there's a specific piece of content you'd like to see, please let me know and I will do my very best to cover it, so long as it's in my wheelhouse and it's something I know that I can deliver and it's wisdom that I have within me that I can share with you. But I'm always open to suggestions. So without further ado, here we go. We're talking all about feeling your feelings. So why would you want to feel your feelings anyway? Why are you here? Why did you click play on this? Why was this of interest to you? First off, you might know and you might have heard, hey, you should feel your feelings. Somebody's told you that along the way and you have no idea what that means. And you're just sitting there with a big old question mark above your head. I'm just like picturing like an image of you with a question mark. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean? No, again, we're not going back to the scene. We're going to stay focused. Another reason you might want to know more about feeling your feelings is because you know you feel things deeply and you want to be able to process some of those feelings, because obviously certain feelings and certain emotions and certain things are a little bit harder to process. They're harder to navigate. They're harder to really get to know and understand the deeper meaning behind them. And you want some foundational knowledge or some tips and tricks to be able to do that for yourself so that you can process your feelings in a way that feels good, unique to you, and that is healthy, of course, first and foremost. And that comes along with learning to skillfully feel your feelings. And that's what I'm hoping to impart to you today. That's some of the wisdom I'm hoping to impart to you today, is to show you how to feel your feelings in a skillful way. And of course, you might just want to learn and grow, because if you're watching any of my videos, you might just be here because you're on a personal growth and self-development journey, and you're hoping that you're going to gain some insight and wisdom. So before we get started, I have a caveat. Who's surprised? Not me. I always have a caveat. I have a caveat for something. And again, I always talk about this in that when we're in school and when we're at the tender, formidable ages, I always go back to age 8. I don't know why. That seems to be my go-to for me. We're not really taught how to feel our feelings. I wish there was a whole course in the curriculum that was like how to feel your feelings or understanding your feelings and emotions. And while there might be now, it's been a really long time since I went through school. I know when I was growing up, there certainly wasn't this. I mean, we're taught, here are feelings, here are emotions, but we're not really taught how to process them in a way that's healthy and in a way that's going to allow us to determine and discern what it is that your feelings are trying to share with you or trying to tell you. So wouldn't it be amazing if we could just change the world that way and teach young people growing up now the importance of feelings and emotions and all of that good stuff? But I'm going to get into a few definitions here just because I want to level the playing field and make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of foundational understanding and definition of what feelings are, and as well how they differ from emotions, because a lot of people use those two terms interchangeably, but they are very different, and I want to go through that as well because I think it's important. Let's break it down. So the definition of feelings from the American Psychological Association, my absolute go-to and my personal favorite, as you all know, is feelings are a self-contained phenomenal experience. Why do they always word things this way? Feelings are subjective, meaning they're your own. They're evaluative, and are independent of the sensations, thoughts, or images evoking them. The definition from the Encyclopedia Britannica says the perception of events within the body closely related to emotion. And as I said, feelings and emotions are often used interchangeably. But here is the biggest difference, okay? So emotions are more felt universally. like as a human species, as human beings, we all experience emotions, and we all experience typically 6 emotions, and each of us experiences them. There's no like differing, that's they're grouped into 6 emotions. And if you can think of the movie Inside Out, think of the characters from Inside Out, the universal emotions are joy, fear, disgust, sadness, anger, and surprise. We all feel emotions in the same way. They're pretty well universal for the most part. Feelings are different because feelings are unique to you, and they are often in reaction to a specific emotion or linked to a specific emotion. But anger could be a sign, like you could be experiencing anger through contempt. The feeling of contempt. You could be experiencing it through the feeling of bitterness, through the feeling of annoyance, the feeling of aggression. Those are feelings that are connected to the root of emotion. And I'm going to show you the feelings wheel later. And some of you might roll your eyes, and some of you might not have heard of it before, and it's going to be a really great tool for you as you start to feel your feelings in a big way. But that's the main difference, is that emotions are more universal. They're more on the subconscious level, meaning you're not really aware of them on the surface, whereas feelings are unique to you. It's what makes you different. How you express emotions are through feelings, and feelings are going to be different for everybody. And those are what is conscious, what is available to you, what you can actually sense on the surface. Those are your feelings. And your feelings, which are connected to an emotion, are going to very much be based on your world experiences, your life experiences, what you've gone through in your own life, what your path has brought you. That's how you're going to experience feelings. So they're really, really unique to you, and they're really amazing. But if you have that disconnect between what feelings are connected to what emotion and what emotion is being caused by what, and you can't really dig deep and understand the root of what's happening, especially if it's an unfavorable feeling or an unfavorable emotion that's making you uncomfortable, it's really important to begin to dig deep and do some of that internal work so you can better understand your feelings, better understand your emotions, and get to the root of some of these more discomforting or uncomfortable ones specifically. So now that you know a little bit about feelings, you know about the universal emotions, you've got that into play. Let me just kind of break down an example. Okay, so let's say you're walking down the street. Of course you're walking down the street because it's springtime and it's beginning to be nice out. So let's say you're walking down the street casually, minding your business, and around the corner you bump into a boss that you used to have, and this boss was not nice to you. In fact, this boss was downright mean, downright rude, hurt your feelings, treated you bad, didn't respect you, didn't value you, really just treated you like absolute garbage. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. Maybe not all of us, but for the most part, some of us have had a couple of bosses that have been like that along your path, along your journey. Now, what is instantly going to happen? You're going to see them and you're going to be like, your heart's going to start pumping. Your palms are going to start sweating. You might even physically start sweating. You might feel your stomach do flips. You might feel your stomach, just be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That is your root emotion. And it could be fear, it could be anger, it could be disgust, all of those things. But this is going to express itself in a feeling in a different way. You could feel supremely annoyed. You could feel really bitter. You could feel really like upset. You could feel really, aggressive or hostile. That expression of the emotion is going to show itself differently based on your experience, based on if you've gone through a period of forgiveness for this person, or you're still really angry with them, or you're still really bitter with them. Your feeling that's going to come out, that's an expression of the emotion, is going to be different based on where you are on your journey and how that specific situation ended for you. But that's what I'm talking about here. That's kind of the difference. And if you don't know what that feeling is linked to, if you don't know why you're feeling that way, there's probably some internal work to do. But if you don't feel it, and if you just stuff that feeling down and you walk away angrily and you just let yourself stew and try and push it down and not deal with it and not really allow it to be there, it's going to make itself manifest at another time. That's the funny thing about feelings, especially the uncomfortable ones. If you don't feel them, if you don't allow them to be there, if you don't give them space, if you don't kind of understand the root of it, it's going to come out one way or another. And it might be just that you blow up on somebody like at Tim Hortons if they get your coffee wrong, and then you're exploding on them, but it really has nothing to do with them. It's because you forced down that feeling of betrayal, hostility, aggression, upset. You didn't deal with it. You didn't allow it to be there. You didn't feel it. You didn't give it its space. So it's like, okay, I'm coming out like a volcano, and then you explode, and it's not really in the same way you would have liked to had you had time to process it, right? So Holy cow, I lost my train of thought. But before we move on, remember that emotions are typically more universally felt and feelings are unique and individual and based on your previous encounters or experience. That's the one thing I want you to keep in mind as we navigate. And sorry about the brain drift there. Sometimes I just lose my train of thought and I'm like, and I'm filming a video and I can't stop it. So I just got to keep forging along. But I am not perfect. I wish I was. No, I don't. That's a lie. Anyway, so let's talk about some facts about your feelings because I think it's really important to kind of know some of these. Number one is think about this. From a young age, you were taught to avoid feelings that bring about discomfort. Like turn your frown upside down or cheer up or look on the bright side and at least you're not hungry or at least you have a roof over your head. And we're taught to not really feel our feelings at all. We're taught to feel the positive ones, like be happy and be cheerful and be okay and be amazing. But we're not taught to feel the uncomfortable ones. We're taught to force them down. And it's kind of societally understood that your positive emotions and your positive feelings are favorable and your negative ones and your unfavorable ones are not favorable at all. The goal is to always simply avoid what is uncomfortable and always be like shiny, happy people holding hands. See, there's another song. I can't help it. It's who I am. And as I mentioned earlier, society has explicitly laid out which feelings are acceptable and which feelings are unacceptable. So if you're caught feeling anything but the acceptable feelings, you're like people will offer you platitudes trying to be like cheer up or buck up and it's going to be okay and don't feel that way and nobody says to you it's okay to feel that way. Why don't you just sit with that for a moment, right? And if you think about it too, it's considered a good thing to not feel the bad things. Like and people that feel their feelings and allow them to be there and allow them to be expressed are like, oh, there must be something wrong with them. Look at them. They're feeling anger and bitter and blah, 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 blah. And of course there's a time and a place for everything. And potentially like if you're in the workplace and you're having a really big feelings outburst, it's probably because it's coming out at the wrong place at the wrong time because you haven't been feeling them. You haven't been feeling those feelings. But like, if you do, people are pointing their finger at you and being like, oh, that person needs help, that person needs support. It's never seen or never viewed as, oh, hey, they're feeling their feelings. And that just boggles my mind, right? Because if you really think about the connotations and if you think about how society views somebody that's expressing themselves in a negative way versus a societally acceptable positive way, it's really like it's not really respected unless you're having a positive feeling or a positive emotion. And that just boggles my mind because we can't all be happy and sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's just physically impossible. So it just, I don't know. Now I'm like thinking about how much that boggles my mind and I'm getting upset, which obviously means that I have some internal work to do. I might have to sit with that for a while, but, and think too, how much we do as a society to try and avoid feeling feelings just in general. Like we scroll. That's probably the biggest way all of us check out from our feelings, our emotions. Scroll, get the dopamine hit, get the feel good, happy hormones going. Avoid. Could be TikTok, could be Facebook, could be Instagram, Snapchat. Does anyone still use that? Anyway, addictions, drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling, video games, busyness. Believe it or not, if you were somebody that is like, I need to be busy constantly all the time, busy, or I'm not okay, that too is a way of avoiding your difficult feelings. Because if you're busy, you don't have time to feel them. If you're busy, you don't have time to sit with it. If you're busy, then there's no space. And you can always blame it on, there's no time, I have no time, I'll feel my feelings another day when I have more time. But busyness is another kind of way that you're avoiding things. And of course, there's a difference between being a busy person, being a busy mom, having things that you need to get done, things of that nature, or intentional busyness, like actively seeking out, not being able to sit still, not being able to be comfortable, and having to actually be busy consistently in order to feel valuable, in order to feel like you're doing something, and in order to not feel your feelings. Okay, so kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And another fact too is it might be feeling your feelings might be the last thing you want to do, because sometimes feeling the feelings that are difficult is really hard. It's really painful. It requires work. It requires attention. It requires you to do something different than you are right now. And if you spent your whole life pushing down your feelings, never feeling them, never understanding them, never leaning into them, never building a friendship with them, it then becomes scary to start doing that. And your ego brain's going to be like, what are you doing? Feeling your feelings, force them down. And sometimes we've got to do hard things in order to have any sort of growth and expansion. No growth, no expansion comes from remaining the same and not becoming uncomfortable. And your feelings are a beautiful part of who you are. They are unique to you. They are yours to own. So why wouldn't you want to begin to embrace and begin to feel them and begin to kind of build a relationship with them? And we will explore that a little bit more later. But if you continue to push your feelings down, if you continue to not feel them, you're missing an opportunity to build a relationship with them. And this is a really, really amazing thing, because your feelings can work for you or they can work against you. Feelings are friends, not food. Finding Nemo? Hopefully some of you got that, but you want to build up like an allyship. There's a potential there for allyship between you and your feelings. They give you a lot of great information, but it's up to you to build a relationship with them and to build a friendship with them and understand that they're not out to get you, they're out to serve you. And that's the most important thing here. So let's chat a little bit about some benefits of feeling your feelings, okay? You'll have a greater connection to yourself. Your feelings, as I mentioned, are a unique part of you. You are a mosaic of experiences shown like through feelings externally. And every answer about yourself is deep within you, and it's showing you through feelings all of the answers that you could ever need. And if you can embrace this beautiful aspect of yourself and you can start to become in touch with your feelings, you'll be more connected to yourself, to your own needs. You'll be able to know what it is you need, what you're searching for, what you're looking for. And it's through the feelings that are connected to the emotion, that are connected to the deeper issue, that are going to give you that clarity and connection to yourself. Tapping into your feelings is an opportunity for you to empower and connect more to you, your highest self, your authentic self, your deep internal wisdom. The root is through, the path is through the feelings. Isn't that beautiful? Allow that to sink in for a minute. Another amazing benefit is to be able to quickly determine if your feelings belong to you or to somebody else. And if you're someone that identifies as a highly sensitive person, if you feel things really deeply, if you're an empath or you're clairsentient, meaning you just really feel things in a big way, sometimes your feelings and the feelings of others, there can be like, you could be mistaking other people's feelings for your own. And it's only by being in touch with your own feelings that you can discern and determine if the feelings you're feeling are somebody else's, like you're feeling the collective energy and feelings of the world with somebody around you, if you're picking up on someone's feelings at the grocery store or at work, or if they were your own. But if you aren't in touch with your own feelings, if you haven't felt your own feelings, you can't determine if you're feeling something that's yours or if you're feeling somebody else's. A lot of times if this is happening, if a feeling is coming up for you and you're not sure if it's your own or not, you can simply ask, does this belong to me or does this belong to somebody else? And just ask your internal system that. It's a very quiet moment of pause. Is this mine or is this somebody else's? And if your gut instinct tells you it doesn't belong to you, okay, thank you very much. I have received the message. I send it back to the source with love, light, and positivity. That way you're sending that feeling that doesn't belong to you back to the other person, but you're sending it with love, so it's a win-win. You're no longer attached to the feeling, but you're also sending it back to them with a little bit of positivity, okay? So finally, the biggest benefit of feeling your feelings is that feelings are messages, okay? Feelings, this is the most important part of the puzzle. Your feelings are messages for you. They are meant for you. They are calling for you to explore something more deeply, to do some internal digging, like get to the root of why you're feeling this feeling and why it's kind of activating in you, or why it's bringing you such elation. Like, do you ever feel like super duper excited and you have no idea why? And you're like, why am I feeling this way? I'm like on fire right now. Not physically, or actually, but your soul is on fire. Like, I don't know why I'm feeling so amazing. This is incredible. Like, you want to get to the root of that. You want to understand that. It's a message. It's calling you and asking you to do some digging, some internal digging, and to get to the root of it. And if you don't listen to the message, if you're like, meh, goodbye message, or it's like deleting an email, like you see an email in your inbox for work and you're like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to delete it. It's going to come back again. Somebody's going to follow up on it. Same with your feelings. If you're not opening it and finding out what's inside the email and dealing with whatever it is, the email is going to come back at another time. A real world way to relate to feelings anyways. But the point here is to really get curious about your feelings and understand that they are messages unique and specific for you. They're yours to own. That's your opportunity to dig deep. It's amazing. Get curious. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how to feel your feelings. Okay. Because I know that's why you're here. Number one, and I say this every time, is awareness. Before you can begin to understand your feelings, before you can build a relationship to your feelings, you have to become innately aware of the feelings you're feeling within a day. You're going to have to kind of, have a sharp start by, put your detective hat on, and start writing down, some of the feelings you're feeling. You don't have to do anything with them right now. This is just the beginning stages, okay? So you're just going to kind of document either in a journal or in like the notepad on your phone. I know a lot of my clients will do that. They'll keep notes in their phone because that just seems to be the thing that's on hand. Leave yourself a voice note, whatever the case may be, but keep a log. These are the feelings I've been feeling in a day. And just no judgment. Don't be upset with them. They're there for a reason. You're just saving it for later, but it means you have to be hyper aware. And don't be, like I said, don't be judgmental. Just let them be present. Don't shove them down. Document and then save for later, and you can move on. And that might help you compartmentalize, especially if you're at work and something's coming up for you. Like you're feeling a high amount of agitation or bitterness or like aggression. Just simply, I've been feeling aggressive, and just let it go for the time being. And then, when you have more time and more space, you can explore it more deeply. So that's the second piece of this puzzle. When it comes to feeling your feelings, you're going to explore them on a deeper level. So when you're in a space, so let's say you've been feeling all of those kind of difficult or challenging feelings, you're going to sit with them. You're going to look at them, and you're going to do one at a time. Okay. Please do not try and tackle 18 feelings all at once. You're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to do it. So you're going to take one. So let's say you've been feeling aggression. Okay, you've got the space, you're in a clear mind, you've got time to yourself, maybe you're lighting a nice candle, some incense, you're taking some space for yourself, you're all alone, the kids are out, whatever the case may be, you're taking 5 minutes to yourself, and you're going to take that one feeling, aggression. Why am I feeling aggressive? And you're going to start to dig a little bit deeper. Where did this aggression come from? And if it's at work, it could be, okay, I'm feeling aggressive because my voice isn't being heard. Okay, what does my voice not being heard mean? Okay, when my voice isn't heard, it makes me remember when I was a kid and my parents didn't listen to anything I said or didn't believe anything I said. Okay, now we're getting a little bit of a deeper layer. What did that make you feel? What emotion is that connected to? Okay, well, when I didn't have my voice heard, I felt scared that I would never feel my voice being heard, that I would never be listened to, that I would never be able to speak my truth. The root of this is fear. Then you can start to process it. Then all of a sudden, you're more aware of why you felt so aggressive at work, because your boss made you feel like you weren't heard. And when you were a kid, you never felt heard. And you've always felt like fearful to share your thoughts or fearful of sharing your truth because everybody shot it down when you were growing up. And that's the reason you're feeling aggressive, right? So with that information, you can then start to build a bit of a relationship and do even more internal digging and start to do some healing around that. It's a really beautiful thing. But you've got to kind of do this one step at a time, one feeling at a time. Maybe the next day you conquer, I don't know, delight. Like you've been feeling delighted about something and you can get down to the root of that, right? But keep in mind, you want to absolutely be doing this one step at a time. And the third piece of this too is to practice labeling the feelings. And this kind of goes in hand with being aware of the feelings. I'm going to bust out the feelings wheel now because because sometimes it's hard to like pinpoint what it is that you're feeling, but you want to practice labeling them. Like if you were feeling aggressive at work, I'm feeling aggressive, and you're going to put it in your journal and you're going to explore it later. I should put these in a different order now that I think about it, but neither here nor there. And you want to actually practice saying, I am feeling blah, blah, blah. I am feeling accepting. I am feeling sentimental. I am feeling empowered. I am feeling skeptical. Practice using the F word, which is feeling. That's the F word we're talking about, right? So, and I'm going to leave this for you guys below as well too. This is the feelings wheel. This can really help you to feel your feelings. For some people, you'll be like, seriously, Denise, the feelings wheel. But for other people, you'll be like, man, that's a really great tool. And I've never even used that or thought of that before. But this has got all of your emotions in the center and then your feelings around it. So this will help you to really determine what it is that you're feeling and label it, because sometimes if you can label it, it will heighten the awareness. If it heightens the awareness, it allows you to see the root, allows you to get to the bottom of things, and allows you to really start processing and doing some healing where needed, right? So I will leave that for you below so that you can access it and you can use it. And understand the difference. This is the fourth piece of the puzzle. I want you to understand the difference between being with a feeling or feeling a feeling, or being with a feeling or being in a feeling, meaning feeling your feelings or allowing the feelings to drive the ship. Because if you had connected to that feeling of aggression, you could have let aggression lead your whole entire day. Then you start lashing out at your boss, lashing out at your colleagues, lashing out at, the guy at the pita pit down the street when you went to get your lunch. That is being in a feeling rather than being with a feeling. That's allowing the feeling to drive the ship. So you don't want to be in a particular feeling for too long. You don't want it guiding you. You want it to be with it, right? And that's what it means to feel your feelings and not to be led by them, okay? Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So I'll give you an example. So if you, being in a feeling might look like this. So take this example. Your partner or your fiance or your husband or your wife or whatever the case may be leaves a sock out in the laundry room, and you see that sock and your blood starts boiling and you're like, oh my God, the freaking sock. If you are being in a feeling, you might go and lash out at them, lash out at the kids, lash out at everybody because you are feeling this upset about this sock. But really what needs to be done is, I am feeling aggressive, tuck that away for later, come out and explore. And when you go through that process of being able to feel the feeling, then you can discern that ultimately that sock means that your partner isn't respecting you. Your partner is just expecting you to pick up the slack, and it's making you feel like you're not valued. That's kind of the root of the issue. So that is actually feeling the feeling, being with it, or being in it. Hopefully that kind of expressed it in a bit of a different way. But and finally, as I mentioned, avoiding overwhelm is key here. You know, if you are trying to explore your feelings and feel your feelings in a deeper way, you don't want to try and address 18 or 20 of them all at the same time. You want to work on one. And as you're working on one, if other feelings are coming up for you, if there's, other things that are trying to make its way in and overwhelm, I want you to just picture all those other feelings. I want you just like imagine a little paper boat. You know what I'm talking about? Those little origami boats. I want you to picture that other feeling like a little origami boat floating away off into the distance. Goodbye feeling, I'll see you later. Okay? You want to focus just on one and go on this exploration, connecting your feelings to underlying emotions and triggers. It's very, very important, and this is a really powerful process for you to go through, but it's going to take all of your focus on one thing at a time. And ultimately, my friend, be patient, okay? If you have never felt your feelings for a lifetime, if you have been a person that has literally not felt a single feeling for 35, 40, 50 years, and you've shoved them all down because that's what you were taught, this is going to take time. So be patient, have compassion for yourself, be extremely non-judgmental. And after a while, after practice, then you'll start to reap some of those amazing benefits I shared with you earlier. So hopefully, with all that to say, you've taken away a lot from this video. Hopefully you learned a few things. Hopefully, you learned some elements that you weren't kind of aware of. As I said, I will leave the feelings wheel for you down below so that you can print it off, or you could save it, or you can just have it near you. And anytime you're feeling something, it will help you to label it. And as you label it, then you can go on this exploration with yourself. But with that, I hope you have the most incredible day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for always supporting me. And thank you for allowing me this amazing time to share a little bit about what it's like to feel your feelings. I'll see you later.